Wow, November 3rd, 2022. It's amazing that time is going as fast as it is. Today, Eddie G's Music World will be discussing one hit wonders. So, anything that this book that I look at, if they claim it is, I might know that it is or isn't. So I will be bringing up whatever my thoughts are about these singers or bands um, that just had one hit, but not more, or they sometimes switched bands and then they had other hits in other bands. So I will just um, take a look at this book, and often I'm pretty good um, at knowing details about the groups, and I'll offer my commentary. Now, my last video was about my issues with technology that became a hassle, so I broke away from it. But um, here I am just for another interesting look into the music scene. People that just couldn't get that second hit. I still have the unbelievable echo, but from my experiences, the the sound comes through okay, which is okay. Okay, I'm just going to start with the 1950s and see what I can remember about some of these acts. Joan Weber, Let Me Go Lover. Um, I can't remember that too clearly. It was probably some kind of romantic type song, but um, she did not do well after that, Joan Weber. Now, this next song is a classic that at anybody over 65 or anybody who likes old 50s music would say, yeah, I know that song. Earth Angel, Will You Be Mine by the Penguins. Based on this, these guys, they came from the 50s. That's when they had that hit, and more singles were released. But this song, Earth Angel by the Penguins, is a classic love song. The John Sisters, My Baby Don't Love Me No More. That one I do not know, so I will not be able to give you a whole bunch of information. But the DeJohn sisters, look it up. Could be interesting. Next, Johnny Ace, Pledging My Love. Now, I thought Johnny Ace had another hit, but I can't find any details about this. Remembering him, to me, this was his only song that made it. Johnny Ace. Next, Cowboy Church Sunday School. No clue about that one, but apparently they had the one hit and they made it in. Lenny D. Plantation Boogie. Mmm, organs. Well, I'm happy for you that you got that hit, Lenny. Caterina Valenti, The Breeze and I. Don't know that one either. Sunnysiders. Hey, Mr. Banjo. I have heard this. I remember that title, but not for a long time. Eddie Barclay, The Bandit. No, don't know that one. Priscilla Wright, The Man in the Raincoat. As long as he didn't open it up and was wearing no clothes, at the time of opening up the raincoat, it's okay. Cliff Cliffy Stone, the Popcorn Song. I remember Hot Butter having a great song called Popcorn, but this probably is not it. But anyway, somehow I'm running into a bunch of unknowns. Chuck Miller, The House of Blue Lights. Don't know that one. Scat Singing Hepcat. Not the type of songs I would know that much about, but he only had one hit, Chuck Miller. Lillian Briggs, I Want You to Be My Baby. She apparently mm, played accordion, piano, violin, and high school, the trombone. Eldorados, At My Front Door. Crazy Little Mama. Hmm. That does not ring a bell, but they got a whole lot of stories about these guys. Seems to be as a lot of obscure one hit wonders in the 50s. Bonnie Lou Daddio, and that song, Daddio, I'm gonna have to look it up and get an opinion on some of these songs, and you could too. Oh, I see the lights flickering. Does that mean it's over for me? No, I'm still alive. Julie London, Cry Me a River. Hmm. Wow, this is obscurity. These people probably ended up working in a grocery store after their one hit, and then that was it. I see that she did some movies. She did some acting. Barry Gordon, Nuttin' for Christmas. Now, Nuttin' for Christmas was a song by the Chipmunks, Alvin and the Chipmunks. So this might have been a cover of that, unless Alvin and the Chipmunks took it from this guy. But either way, mm, he did some talk shows. Either with Barry Gordon, whatever happened to you, I hope you're okay. Joe Ward, Nuttin' for Christmas. Now, I don't know that guy either. Kit Carson was an actress. Now that I know. She had a song called Band of Gold. Now, Band of Gold, when I think of Band of Gold, I think of Frida Payne, who uh, who did who did that song, but it could be a totally different song. I don't see any um, connection mentioned between Kit Carson's version and Frida Payne's, so it could likely have been just a coincidence. But when I was a kid, Band of Gold was played a lot by Frida Payne, and I always thought it meant the gold instruments of the band instead of a ring, which is obviously what it really was about. Bobby Scott Chain Gang. Okay, New York. He's from there. Okay, next, Bonnie Sisters. Cry Baby. Three sisters checked out of Bellevue Hospital. They were nurses at a mental hospital, I think. I think Bellevue was for people with psychological issues. I guess they went back to that job because not much is said about these sisters. Four Voices, okay. In the 50s, there were a lot of groups that had four in the title. Four Aces, Four Voices, uh, four Four Coins in the Fountain was a song. Anyway, a lot of these bands had four of something um, in those days. Blue Stars, Lullaby of Birdland. Now that's a jazz song. I do know that song, but I'm kind of wondering if I've heard their version or someone else's version. Okay, we're getting into 1956. This is why some of these songs are not that well known to the audience and to me, who calls himself Eddie G's music world. So I should know, but it's kind of an era that I'm not as clear on. Anyways, his song was Mr. Wonderful. jazz influence song by Teddy King with an I, so it's a girl. Teen Queens. This song might have been meant for me. I do remember it. It's called Eddie My Love. Well, uh, I wonder what happened to these two, this band. Despite the competition from White and cover versions, okay, so they were cover versions by the Chordettes. Their follow-ups were arguably as high quality as Eddie. Their jump tunes like Rock Everybody were pleasing. Nothing charted, and well, that was the end of that. Carl Perkins, Blue Suede Shoes, finally something I know a lot about. This this guy had a bigger career than that one song, but maybe it was more country. But he was part of the Sun Studio sessions that uh, involved Charlie Rich, Elvis, Roy Orbison. So Blue Suede Shoes was done by Carl Perkins first. He wrote it. Of course, Elvis became a massive star after this version and covered it. And I don't have to tell you that that was huge for Elvis. I know Carl Perkins, he lived quite a long life. But, you know, if you wrote that one big song, you probably still, like his family, must be getting royalties off of it because that song really got played a lot in movies, whatever. George Cates, Moonglow, and Theme from Picnic. These are really movies that nobody really cares about anymore from the 1950s. But this guy uh, did the theme. Let me see who was in them. William Holden, Kim Novak, Cliff Roberts, and Rosalind Russell. Big stars. But according to this, the man did not sustain it for very long. Um, he was on other chart records, but no top 40s or maybe a minor top 40. You see, the definition of one hit wonders is always very hard to, I don't know, to qualify. Because I've had guys like this guy, Doug Camilli, call all kinds of artists one hit wonders. And I used to write him and email him if there was email at the time and correct him. He would call people with one big hit and then a medium sized hit, a one hit wonder. But if you made the top 40, kind of you weren't a one hit wonder in my book. Now, in my book is just my definition. But technically, a top 40 hit means you made a second hit pretty much. The Happy Whistler, Don Robertson. Now, I knew Guy Mitchell had a bunch of songs with whistling, singing the blues. I think I've heard this Happy Whistler song. I know the title, so I must have heard it. Um, let's see if there's anything exciting. Oh my God, recorded a dozen tunes that he wrote. A part of you, I'm yours. I really don't want to know. He was inducted in the hall Walkway to the Stars. Morris Stoloff, Moonglow, and Theme from Picnic. So he jumped into this with another theme. Then there's Kathy Carr. One hit was Ivory Tower, Born in the Bronx. Um, okay, she's got a picture of herself with a cat. Well, another artist that made the list. We're still in 1956. I guess I'll go to the end of this. The Rover Boys graduation day. Well, I know the Irish Rovers and the Rovers, but I don't know these guys at all. Um, I'm wondering who put it's Billboard books, so they're pretty thorough. I actually gave them a rundown of my version of One Hit Wonders, which I spent a year on, but then they wrote me back and they said, good idea, but we already have a book coming out. So this must have been the book. But anyway, I've never really been an official author, but I was more adventurous back then. Okay, now here's two songs that were covered by CCR, I believe. Stranded in the Jungle by the Jayhawks. I have heard of those guys. Uh, actually, this is not the CCR song. That's Run Through the Jungle. This is Stranded in the Jungle. So I'm editing myself on the fly. But I do know Stranded in the Jungle. So here's the second group, the Cadets. They also had a one-hit wonder with the song Stranded in the Jungle. I'm pretty sure I'm going to get to the end of 1956, and then maybe if I find it still interesting, because my era of knowledge is mostly 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. So these are the late 50s. So the info that comes to my head is not as easily done for this. Sanford Clark, The Fool. Anyone remember that? You can make a comment if you do. The Fool. I'm gonna look that one up and listen to it. I'm trying to see if there's anything interesting about this guy. Kind of just nothing exciting. Helmut Zacharias, When the White Lilacs Bloom Again. That came out in September 1956. German violinist Helmut Zacharias. Magic Violins. Wow. Maybe this guy had a bigger career in Europe. Well into the 60s, additional singles and LPs by Helmut Zacharias were sporadically issued. So, in other words, his time in the American market was probably not that good. Jane Powell, now, is that the actress? She sang a song, True Love. There was an actress, Jane Powell. Or maybe that's, Jane Powell. Yeah. Uh, she did do movies. Yeah. Musical movies. That's what I thought. True Love was written by Cole Porter. And so she was more an actress, but she obviously had a singing career too. Here, Eddie Cooley and the Dimples. Eddie, what the hell is this song? Priscilla. He wrote the song Fever. Okay, that did very good for him. Fever was done by a lot of people. Otis Blackwell, Peggy Lee, Little John and McCoy's, Cooley. He did but by writing that song, that make him stand out for that song, Fever, more than Priscilla, because Fever, I'm aware of the popularity of that song. Okay, we're into November of 1956. Highlights. This is a group, City of Angels. Gonna see if anything really jumps out at me about this band. I'm not seeing a lot that shows major continuing success for this guy. A lot of these guys, I don't know what they did after that. Sunny Night, Confidential. Well, now he lives in Hawaii. He's an author. The Day the Music Died was published under his God given name. Maybe that's about the American Pie song, because that's known to be the day the music died, which is 1 year before my birthday, 1959. If that's what he was referring to, because this is 1956. So, you know what? Yeah, it could have been. He wrote the book in 1981, so for sure it's possible. Joe Valino, Garden of Eden. Sorry, Joe. There's just not much that I know about you. Syl Austin, Slow Walk. One hit wonder, according to Billboard. A lot of these guys were one hit wonders. What the hell happened to them? He toured. He lost control in his car and he died. I'm sorry, Syl. It makes me sad. You passing away. My millions of listeners that I can see are sad. Vince Martin, the Terriers. I know that name. Cindy, oh, Cindy, I've heard of the Terriers. Now let's see if I can connect the dots to see why do I know this song. Bob Barron, Burt Long wrote it. Hmm. He did other songs, Electra. Okay. That's not much of. Now, this next song I know very well because it was a classic piano based song with a great vocal. Since I met you, baby. Na, 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 by Ivory Joe Hunter. Ivory Joe refers to the keys on his piano. So I don't really need to read up on this guy because he had other songs. Uh, he died in the 70s, so whatever. It sounds like there was more records that came out. Here's the Terriers. That's why I know the Terriers. Oh, I'm into February of 1957. Well, might as well keep going. The Boat song. Day-o, day-o. Let's see. Alan Arkin wrote this. Can you believe it? That's the actor still alive. His son is Adam Arkin. So obviously, I know I've heard the Terriers version, and of course, it's 100% that I know the Harry Belafonte version, which is, I mean, that man is close to 90, I think. This is from 1957. Well, Terriers, don't think you lasted that long. There's no other songs that really stood out for you. John Joy Lane, Your Wild Heart. Joy Lane, no, there's not a lot about her that seems to be exciting for anyone to hear about. So I won't. She looked like Sandy Duncan. Mickey and Sylvia. Now this one was huge. Um, Ethel Smith wrote it. Love is Strange has been done by a few covers. You must know it if you do find the time to look up Mickey and Sylvia. Love is Strange. You will know this song 100% unless you are like 18 or something. I don't have too many 18-year-olds. But they mentioned they split in 1959. So whatever they did, this is going to be the song forever that they know. I see that Sylvia played guitar. So did Mickey. Jimmy McCracklin, The Walk. That does sound familiar. I'm going to have to check that one out. Oh, James David Walker. Hmm. He wrote some hit songs here. The Thrill Is Gone. Oh, man, you did well with that, sir. So, Tramp, I know that one. I think that was it was a father and a daughter, and I can't remember. It was some soul band. But, okay, Terry Gilkison, the Easy Riders. I do know the by Terry Gilkison and the Easy Riders. Marianne, could that be it? But somehow there was a dispute between the band and them. You know, when you only have one hit and you're fighting over the band's name, that's not a great way to make success. Who am I to talk? I wasn't there. Okay, let's see how far I can go with this. Jimmy Bowen with the Rhythms Orchids. I'm sticking with you. April 27th, 1957. Um, hmm. Rhythm guitar. He played. One of them played. Jimmy, not a great bass player. I'm reading little bits of information. Um, but I think they also did Party Doll, which I know. Come on along, be my. I think that was Bobby V. Was it? Oh no, it was Buddy something. Buddy Knox. Buddy Knox. I'm sure that's who it was, because my mother, she won a bunch of 45s and she brought them home and we played them all the time, and that was one of them by Buddy Knox. Yeah, that was a great tune. Come on, be my part of it all. Now you can't even. You'll get hassled for saying a girl is a party doll because it's kind of it could be interpreted as a demeaning to a woman that all she is a doll. You know, nowadays you can't say that, but back then it was accepted. Okay, a little bit more. Ken Copeland, Pledge of Love. We're into May 1957. Gainesville, Texas. That's where he's from. Ken Copeland. He became a televangelist, so don't really know. I'm pretty sure there were cover versions of that song, Pledge of Love. I know the name. It's not really going into great detail, but there definitely was a song covered by others. Marvin Rainwater, Gonna Find Me a Bluebird, part Cherokee. A tree surgeon later. So you can tell how great his career was. Just not easy to keep that going. Then he had throat surgery, so, didn't last. Bonnie Guitar, Dark Moon, country band. You see, a one hit wonder is the name of the book, and they're putting people in here that may have had one pop tune that was a hit, and they couldn't make it in the pop charts, but maybe they had 17 country hits, you see. But they're calling it the one hit wonders. It's kind of a loose name. They're not being checked a lot by me. Jody Sands with All My Heart, another mellow song. I do remember it a bit. Um, Another short lived career, but the song was featured in a movie called Jamboree. She followed it up with All My Heart. So her first song was Sayonara Goodbye. Um, she disappeared in the late 50s. Over the Mountain, Across the Sea by Johnny and Joe was kind of an upbeat song. I remember it well because it was played on oldie stations as I was growing up. And that's a good one to listen to if you're ever curious about hearing songs that were popular from those days. Oh, I see one coming up pretty soon. I know it very well. Ross Hamilton Rainbow. No, but He went to Liverpool. This is in 1957, and he was known in the States. He was born in Liverpool. Then he went to the United States. Um, a lot of his follow-ups did not become hits, it seems, which is the case pretty much for all of these people. Bobettes. Now, I think that if anybody knows 50s music, they know this song. It's a very weird guitar lick that is very catchy. Mr. Lee, Mr. Lee, Mr. Lee, Mr. Lee. So basically, great guitar cut. 1, 2, 3, Mr. Lee, something like that. But it's an enjoyable song, and I do intend to listen to it. All right, we'll go to the end of 1957. It's not like I have a incredible amount of things to do. So let's see what's. Uh, boy, I just saw the picture of the Bobettes. They're five young girls. Hmm. Apparently, they kept touring, but their hits were not they didn't keep up as far as I go. Now I know this next song too. Joe Bennett and the Sparkle Tones, and the song was Black Slacks. So it's basically them saying black slacks over and over again. And I see they got a standing bass, drums, guitars. I guess they did that. So these guys did not seem to have much of a career. Okay, let's head to the end of 1957. One of my longer videos because I haven't done one for a while, so I figured I'll put a little more effort into it. Tune Weavers, Happy Happy Birthday Baby. Um, it's a band leader, so obviously it's not the rock era type of stuff. Hmm, Johnny Sylvia. Hmm, can't see much excitement to discuss about these guys. But they sold 2 million copies of this song. So, but then members left, problems with compensation. Oh, that's a new one. That's just like everybody got screwed over. Both, I'm sure it still happens. Okay, on to the next. The Rays, Silhouettes. A couple of groups did that. Silhouette, 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 silhouettes on the wall. Yeah, I'm singing. I don't care. If you don't like it, it's okay. Um. Anyway, that was huge. Covered by a lot of people. I'm trying to remember the name of the one that did the main cover of it, but Bob Crew co-wrote it with Frank Slay. And Bob Crew went on to write and produce for 4 seasons after that. Now, the next song, a classic, the original Thurston Harris, Little Bitty Pretty One, written by Robert Byrd. Of course, this was a Jackson song, either Michael or the Jackson Five or the Jacksons covered it. I'm trying to see if I can refresh my memory, but I think they did. No, they did Rock and Robin. I don't know if they covered this one, but they. I got my songs mixed up, which happens. Um, Mental Hospital. Poor Thurston. Uh, Bobby Day did the original. Okay. Anyway, Shepherd Sisters Alone. I do remember that one. November 11th. Uh, Sisters. Hold on, Marty Kraft signed these people. Sid and Marty Kraft made all those animated cartoons in the morning on the ABC, NBC, CBS type of thing. Sid and Marty Kraft, they did well back then, writing and producing and stuff, and the cartoons, of course. Okay, Bill Justice, Raunchy. That's an instrumental. I know that song. Great bass. Kind of sounds like the Dwayne Eddy style of songs. Because I'm gonna have to listen to that to refresh my memory. Uh, they were hired by Sam Phillips of Sun Studios, which helped them, of course. But after that, there were other songs, but nothing major. Closing out the year, Margie Rayburn. I'm available. Let's see if she's related to Gene Rayburn. Hmm, I don't think so. Ernie Freeman. This closes out the year. He had a version of Raunchy that was also a one hit. See, I'm learning a lot of stuff, so this is fun. Uh, oh, he played piano in the behind the scenes uh, for the Platters and Rock Around the Clock. So he was doing a lot of session work, or maybe he was part of the bands. I know Bobby Freeman was the guy who wrote The Swim and other hits, but this is Ernie Freeman, uh, session worker. He played part of Bree Bumble and the Singles, Bumble Boogie, Nut Rocker. I do know those. So we're done. We're done. Thank you for sticking with me. Eddie G's Music World. I'd be happy to hear that people did tune in when they had time. And sayonara, Eddie G's Music World, signing off for his November 3rd show, Eddie G's Music World. Thank you. Goodbye.